Well, good evening, members of council, members of management, our guests in our council chambers lobby. I'd like to welcome two potential new candidates to maybe take a couple of chairs at the table. To Mr. Penton and Mr. Green, welcome to our council chambers. So I'll call the meeting to order. First thing we'll go forward with was item number 1 is our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the town of Stephenville as an ancestral homeland of different populations of indigenous people. We also acknowledge with respect the rich histories and cultures of the Beothuk, the Mi'kmaq, the Innu and Inuit of the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. Item number 2, I would ask a member of council that we adopt the agenda. Circulate.
I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councillor Laura Aylward. Carried. Motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carried. We got a new procedure that came down from Municipal Affairs on the rules of procedure on acknowledging the acceptance of a resolution or an item of council. Carried is the recommended terminology to be used for municipal affairs for all municipalities across the province. Item number 3 is the approval of minutes. They were circulated by our town clerk. Be it resolved to approve the public meeting of council minutes dated January 25th, 2024 as circulated. I would ask a member of council to approve. Moved by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councillor Myra White. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. We only have 4, but soon we'll have 7. Okay, are there any matters arising from those minutes?
Not that I could see.
Nope. Okay. Proclamations and delegations. We did have one signatured proclamation that took place last week for the month of February. We had a very large group of community volunteers, community groups that work on mitigating, working on policies, procedures, communications, public relations about eradicating violence. And violence is in most communities, but we have to do everything in our power as a community to work with these groups, work with families, citizens, all age brackets to stop this abuse. And it comes in many forms. As we all know, there's violence that happens within relationships. There's violence that happens to our seniors. There's violence that happens to children. And bullying and violence has no place. It comes under the Criminal Code of Canada to be addressed from a legal perspective. But having February being recognized as the month to bring the attention to it, remember, we all have to play a part. If you see it happening, if you witness it, try to do something to stop it, report it, and do what you can to help the victim, because everybody needs help. So I'd like to recognize that. Committee reports. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to our Chair of Finance, Councillor Myra White, item 6.1, and you have the floor.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. The Finance Committee met on February the 6th, 2024, and the following items were recommended for Council's approval. The accounts payable for January 2024, be it resolved to pay accounts payable for January 2024 in the amount of $266,689.95. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second by Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Item number 2, the expense check January for 2024, be it resolved to pay expense check for January 2024 in the amount of $420,646. $1,000.48. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councillor Lauren Hillard. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Karen, I just want to say a couple of times of the year, you'll see we have roughly a $10 million budget. For a couple of times a year, you'll see our accounts payable or sometimes expense check listing supersede normal months. And it tends to be if there's a purchase of capital equipment that was assigned to a budget, or if we do municipal capital works projects. So for this year, for example, we have a couple of projects in the works. We are redoing Main Street right from water and sewer up. It's about a $5 million project. We may be enhancing that project with upgrades to our aesthetics of Main Street. We had a study done by Uplands Consulting a few years back to green up, make Stephenville's downtown a little bit more pedestrian friendly, and to turn it into more of a tourism attraction. We could not move on that until we did the core infrastructure upgrades of Main Street to do the full water and sewer. And if I tell you it's needed, it was put in there when my grandfather was the first mayor of Stephenville in 1950. So the infrastructure is about 70 years old. We do have funding, and the funding is 80% comes from the feds and the province. We only pay 20%. So it's a cost shared agreement. But it's our hope at the end of the summer season, we'll probably have the nicest, prettiest, most inviting tourism, pedestrian friendly Main Street in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item 3, request.
Resolution carried.
Oh, carried. Motions.
Item number 3, request for grant, Stephenville Rotary Music Festival. Be it resolved to give a grant in the amount of $1,500 to the Stephenville Rotary Music Festival. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, second.
Second.
Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow. I'd just like to speak that the Rotary Musical Festival had a little bit of a slowdown during COVID, like most organizations, most businesses, most community groups. But there's a resurgence to revive it. We're supporting it. And we're very rich in the arts of Stephenville with our Indigenous and our French culture, our American history, our beloved Stephenville Theatre Festival. And since Nomad Stages has come into town, that has really enhanced our arts community. They have youth groups. The Stephenville Theatre Festival has a youth group. So there's a full succession planning going on. So on that note, it's a very worthy cause, and we want to congratulate the leaders of the Rotary Festival for continuing this 50-year plus tradition in our town. On that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Item 4 is a request for donation to the Addictions Recovery Drop-In Center. Be it resolved to give a donation in the amount of $2,500 to the Addiction Recovery Drop-In Center. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
I'll second it.
Second, Councillor Laura Hillard. Question? All good? Okay, a great service, no doubt.
It is, yes.
So we have a motion, the seconder approved, carried. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Item number 5, approval to appoint Brian N. Hillier, CPA, CA, as auditor for the town of Stephenville for the 2023 review year. Be it resolved to appoint Brian N. Hillier, CPA, CA, as auditor for the town of Stephenville. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Councillor Hillard. I'd just like to speak on that. An organization of our size, $10 million budget, this is public money, public accounts. Having audits are very, very important. Not only do we have audits externally with a CPA certified firm like Brian Hillier, but We do have our own internal auditing system within our finance department. But we also, from time to time, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jennifer, get audits coming from municipal affairs. They do audits. So there's a lot of public talk of our finance capacities, but we're under a lot of very strict accounting principles and guidelines through auditing and so forth. And so, for example, when we brought down, and we'll be discussing it here in a motion, when we brought down our budget this year for 2024, we only have a 5% debt load ratio, one of the best in the province. Most municipalities, their debt load ratios for short, medium, and long-term loans is running 15 to 20% of their budget assignments. We're only at 5%, so we're in really good shape. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Carry.
Item 7, rescind motion number 23-392, the adoption of tax rates and fees for 2024.
Oh, did we do number 6, Myra, at the bottom?
Oh, yeah.
Jumped the gun. I turned the page.
Yeah. Turn your page back down.
Okay, item number 6, approval to appoint Mr. Dennis Waterman as Assessment Review Commissioner for the 2024 calendar year. Be it resolved to appoint Mr. Dennis Waterman as Assessment Review Commissioner. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, seconder.
Second.
Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow. I just want to say that when it comes to municipal assessment agency and assessments, that is not internal. That is outside of our control, and that's a provincial piece of legislation with all municipalities.
Yeah, because a lot of people think that we put up the rate
Yeah.
of the tax of the house, the mill rate and stuff like that. We do the mill rate, but assessment division is the people that raise,
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on that note, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carry.
Item number 7, rescind motion number 23-392, adoption of tax rates and fees for 2024. Be it resolved to rescind motion number 23-392, tax rates and fees 2024 as presented. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second by Councilor Lori Aylward. All in favor?
Aye.
Carry.
Item 8, adoption of tax rates and fees 2024. Be it resolved to approve to adopt 2024 tax rates and fee structure as circulated. I so move.
Moved by Councilor Myra White, second.
Second.
Second, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow. I'd just like to speak on that because sometimes in the media we get people coming back at us. So let me talk about water and sewer rates. This year we moved them up, small incremental. We haven't moved our water and sewer rates up in 20 years. Everything goes up. 20 years ago, you were paying a lot less for a gallon of fuel or an automobile or a mortgage or so forth. But we have one of the best water systems in Canada, multiple wells, deep aquifers that we have to manage because sometimes some aquifers replenish from a hydrological perspective at a normal rate. Some wells in the aquifer will replenish at a slow rate. Some aquifers could go dry. So this year we drilled, last year we drilled an additional well. This coming year under our municipal capital works program, we're drilling 2 more wells. I think it's $1.2 million for the growth of Stephenville. So one of the best waters. I mentioned that we're replacing water and sewer on Main Street that's 70 years old. Well, we got to pay 20% for that. So we have to manage our budget. Our mill rate when, Susan, I guess we started the first council 8 years ago, was 7.4 mils. It's down to 7.2 mils now. We moved our business rate from 8 mils to 8.2 because there should be about a minimum 1 mil differential between residential and business. Business in Stephenville is going to be very robust as we move forward with aggressive economic files for 2024. Two other things we did, we eliminated the poll tax. And what we did was also reduce the interest on overdue accounts by 50%. So we have done some great things in managing the budget, but also managing the balance of mill rates and antiquated poll taxes that should have never existed. It's kind of but they're no longer. I don't think they exist now in Newfoundland. Do they, Jennifer? Poll tax? Are they totally eradicated?
I don't know. There are
I think so.
another.
I think they are.
Yeah. So on that note, all in favor?
I,
Motion carried.
no, carried.
Carried.
Well, what is that?
Take me a while. Do we have anything late on finance?
No, we do not.
That's the reason that we had to do it again. It's the word
Yeah.
motion.
Okay. So only carried.
Can't use it.
Can't use what?
The word motion.
Yeah, when it comes
That's-
to,
You can't say motion carried.
No, so that's why we had
Who
to,
said that?
well,
that's-
we always used to say it, but municipal affairs has changed.
What is wrong with that?
because this is a resolution, right? So number 7,
Yeah,
we had, that's the motion we put forward before, but because it said it be it result, or because it was a resolution,
So,
and we said motion carried, they've asked that we redo it. That's why we've rescinded it and then
Had to redo it again.
re-voted on it, right? So we can't accidentally then say motion carried again.
blacks to sleep at night and as bureaucrats. They think about stuff to put in and make up
Well,
make
I
life
guess-
misery for people.
I
Yeah,
guess the interpretation of legal jargon is always subject to interpretation.
yeah.
Somebody interpreted that we were probably.
Every new person comes in then and decides how they're gonna do it.
Of course, if they would try.
Before I turn it over to planning, too, I'd like to recognize we have over 40 people tune in to our public meeting. I don't think we've ever had 42 at an evening meeting, normally in the 30 ranges. So
No, it's usually just when
it's
there's
a nice,
peak controversy is usually our big times.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, excellent.
okay, so I'm going to turn it over to you, Councillor Laura Edward, for the
So it's
planning
my turn.
component.
I got a really big agenda today, my dear.
I know.
Telling you, we'll be here all day,
You
guys.
need a glass of water, let me know. 'Cause I'll help you out.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say to the people that are listening out there that this is my first meeting live since after Christmas. And that was because I had a mild fracture in my vertebrae. So I'm getting around, I'm improving a lot and I can get around, but I can't go to very many functions. Dr. Murkowski said to me, the first thing he said to me was, don't be out and about. You got the rest, but take it easy. So I want to say I was pleased to be back, Mr. Mayor. and
Great to have you
council.
back at the table.
Yeah, and it's way better being at the table than it is being online. So that's great. So I'm glad to be here today.
And I want to say too that I seen you that day and I know you had fallen, but you came out to support the community.
I did, yeah.
And the region.
Yeah.
To support World Energy and our new green energy project. That's really the envy of the province, the country, and in some
I
aspects
would
of
say the world, yeah.
we have become a global asset. And, you know, it was not a nice day. The snow was blowing. And it's too bad you had that fall, but I do appreciate that you wanted to get out and be part of that rally.
I was there. I was in my vehicle, but my son, but I was there. I wouldn't miss that for sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyway, Planning and Traffic Committee, we met on February 6th, 2024, and the following items were recommended for council approval.
So
And you need to,
I'm in
step from
conflict
the
on the
table.
first one.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the gavel over to the deputy.
and
mayor.
you're probably in conflict on the second one too.
Yeah, you're in conflict too.
Yeah,
From time to time,
just
be careful.
yeah.
Yep. Okay, so
Okay.
we'll move forward then.
Okay, first item is request to revoke order number 19-38 Be it resolved to revoke the order to cease and desist number 1938 for 45 Hillier Avenue under the provision of section 102-3 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, chapter U8 as amended. I so move.
Moved by Councillor Aylward, seconder.
Second.
Second by Councillor White. Question? All good? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carry.
The last item is, the revision?
Just say here to be named
Yeah.
45 and to be named 45 and 49.
It's going to be renamed the two numbers, is
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
45 and 49.
Okay, all right. Request to subdivide parcel of land 45 Hillier Avenue, 45 and 49, that is. Be it resolved to approve subdivision of parcel of land known as 4549 Hillier Avenue into two parcels,
No, it's known as 45,
known as 45.
but it's going to be into two parcels, yeah.
Okay. To be named 49 Hillier Avenue
45 and 40.
and 45 and 49
Subdivide 45 into 45,
and 49.
right? So maybe if you want to read that again.
Okay, I'll try again.
Yeah, just leave the 45 at the top.
Yeah.
And add a 45 down next to the 49.
Okay, yeah. Be it resolved to approve subdivision of land known as 45 Hillier Avenue into two parcels to be named 4549 Hillier Avenue. Got it?
Right.
Okay, I so move.
Moved by Councillor Aylward, seconder.
Second.
Second by Councillor White. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. No.
I know, I won't remember that. I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to remember that.
No, I won't either.
Anyway, that's the planning for the day unless there's something late came in. Is
Okay.
Jennifer, none? Okay, thanks, Jennifer.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor Susan Fallow. And thank you very much, Chair of Planning, Councilor Laura.
Welcome.
Okay, so any bylaws or regulations? Nothing for today, Jennifer, right? Okay. Unfinished business. Any councilors have anything? I've got a few things that I would like to speak on.
Go ahead and I'll.
Okay, a couple of things. First of all, I'd like to welcome our manager of economic development, Mr. Mike Ratter, who's with us today. As you well know, there's a lot of attention on what's going to happen in the Stephenville region with a new hydrogen plant and plan for approximately 500 windmills that would go between Stephenville, Port-au-Port, and the Codroy Valley. Just so happens that our manager of economic development knows a lot about windmills. He traveled the world. He worked mostly in oil and gas, but he's from the Orkney Islands off of the coast of Scotland. And the Orkney geographical footprint in size is similar to the Port-au-Port Peninsula. On the Orkneys, there's approximately 600 turbines. How many? 900 turbines on the Orkneys. They're only planning on putting 124 on the peninsula. What would you say is the population of the Orkneys?
20,000.
20,000. There's only 3,000 people on the Port-au-Port Peninsula. So you can see how, they're in farmers' fields. Farmers, if it's on private land, they get paid so much. It exists around the world. We're only starting to catch up in North America. And I just wanted to speak on that. Secondly, I spent the morning, I had a wonderful morning over at our prestigious Royal Canadian Legion. And as an Indigenous veteran of the Canadian military, Laura, we had a film crew in from St. John's, and the film production is about the role veterans and Indigenous veterans play both in conflicts such as World War I, World War II, Korea, Afghanistan, but also current conflicts today. And it went over really, really well. And one of the things that we as a council, I'm recommending that we would move forward with, we'll have some discussion at our next planning, is November the 11th is recognized as Remembrance Day for all the right reasons. And I got to say, I was asked questions about why is there so much attention now on Remembrance Day? And you know, I got to give a lot of credit to our educational institutions, our teachers, our leaders, our principals, and the role that our youth and our children are doing. And I've been to the high schools and I've seen the
Yes.
performances, and it's absolutely unreal
It is.
what they do.
Yeah, I've been there too. Yeah.
And so my hope is this year that as a precursor, a prelude to November the 11th, that we would have an Indigenous remembrance for November the 8th, which is recognized nationally as Indigenous Veterans Day. So that's something that I will work and counsel to hopefully bring forward, engage our elders, engage our Indigenous groups, that we can do something of signature to recognize Indigenous veterans.
Good idea. Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to speak on was our manager of economic development plays many roles. We have a balance in Stephenville. We're working closely with our business community, with the World Energies, the Diamond Groups, and so forth. But it's a balance. We can't leave anybody behind. And to attract business and to retain families and attract families, you got to have services. So Mike is working with the YMCA. We're looking at a new daycare facility with the Y. But here's something of such great attention that we're working on, is we're working with a partnership between Halifax, the College of North Atlantic, our Francophone Association. We're looking at building a brand new hybrid, one of a kind daycare facility that would be 50% of it would be core French daycare, and the other 50% would be Mi'kmaq language training. We have the site selected. We've been in negotiation with provincial government. There'll be extra funding assigned in our municipal operating grant. Stephenville, the only town, has been recognized that we need to move forward with this. But one of the things from an innovation perspective that we're going to use the College of North Atlantic on is we're hoping that this building will become a net zero building, zero energy costs. There's only one that exists in Canada, Mike, in Toronto.
Yes.
Yeah, we would be the second in the country. But this hybrid daycare would be signature, maybe the only one in the country. So we're working on that. As the MOUs get framed out and signed, we'll start the engineering, the design, putting the budgets together, and then I'm looking forward to breaking ground. So that's a good news story. I just want to say too that there's been a little bit of media out there. Unfortunately, you got leaked from a privileged meeting about we're in negotiations with grants in lieu of taxes. And we've been doing this forever. We've done it with Abitibi Price. We've done it with the former port owners. We're in negotiations with the Diamond Group. As we well know, the Diamond Group has invested millions into the airport. We have had put no money into the airport since this takeover. Their plan is to revitalize the infrastructure and attract business to the airport. And let me tell you, World Energy is helping them, because bringing in a work camp of 2,000 people for maybe 10 to 15 years is really going to create the demand for airlines to make money in Stephenville. We wish them well. But remember, when it was the Stephenville Airport Corporation, which was a community group, non-share, we did a lot for them. We gave them grants, but they gave us some free stuff too. So right now, our 911 dispatch is done by the Stephenville Airport Radio Services, which is the Diamond Group. We don't have the capacity to do it because we would have to hire probably another 5 people in our fire department if our fire department was to do it. Remember, we only have 2 full-time firefighters on staff. And when an emergency happens and a fire happens, we're not dispatching, we're heading to save a life. I would say if we had to pay for that service, it would probably cost us upwards $300,000-$400,000 a year. So that's something that they're providing to us. But whenever we make a decision, and every airport across the province in the country does grants in lieu of taxes, mostly every port, every big entity. When World Energy comes in here with a hydrogen plant, we're going to negotiate a grant in lieu of taxes. That's how it's done. That's the format. That's a precedent that happens. So, but when it happens, we are open and transparent, and it'll come to a public meeting and be voted on, ratified, and it'll be carried. So I just want to speak on that. The last thing I want to say, really happy to see 12 candidates running for 3 seats on this prestigious council. We are at the cusp of economic growth. We are the envy of this province. And in some cases, across Canada and the world, there's a lot of eyes on Stephenville. But if this was not a good environment, we'd have nobody running. Like some places, they can't get people to run.
Yeah.
So to Mr. Patton, Mr. Greeno is here. Congratulations, stepping forward. This is a volunteer position. And it takes courage because we sometimes take a lot of hits on social media, but that's part of the game.
Well,
And-
you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say too is sometimes we change our formatting and timing when we have our public meetings. Sometimes they're in the evening, sometimes they're in the daytime. It's easier to do it in the daytime for staffing. For myself, Laura, Myra, and Susan, we're all retired. We can make it at lunchtime. A couple of our previous counselors were working or had businesses, so it was really tough, so we used to have them in the evening. But for the most part, we never get anybody coming to our public meetings, but we get people, thank God for Facebook, at least they get to chime in electronically, so that's a good thing. So that's the reason why, so when the 3 new people come to the table, if they all have the ability to do it at lunch hour, we'll continue at lunch hour. But if they're working and we got to do them in the evening, we adjust for council's needs. So I just wanted to.
Don't forget to talk about new clinic.
But what?
The new clinic.
Oh, yeah. We might as well talk about it because.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
talking it.
Let's talk about that.
So I've often said in this council, I have to applaud the councilors that left too, because we were behind it in solidarity
Mhm.
and
We were.
consensus. We put a lot of effort during COVID for healthcare. We put $500,000+ into recruitment and retention because you got to recruit, but you also got to retain.
That's
There's
important.
a balance.
Most important.
And it paid dividends. Physicians in Stephenville, we have close to 20. And when you hear about places like Bonavista that had none, that shows that we had the will, we had the power, we had the need, we had the capacity to do what we did. We projected a little deficit by doing that because we knew greater times were ahead. This year, we're anticipating upwards to $3 million of new revenue coming in unassigned in the budget from sale of assets and land. We're in good shape. But I will say this new medical clinic will actually play a pivotal role in attracting and retaining new professionals. A new building that's state of the art. The contract is in at close to $40 million. The site is 9.5 acres. Excavating started before Christmas. Obviously, winter stopped them. We're anticipating to open the doors of that new clinic before Christmas. And it's going to be a great advantage to Stephenville. We also going to work with our developers about our advancement of new commercial, residential, light industrial, and heavy industrial. And we got a lot of people coming at the table. Just last week, we had a Fortune 500 company with VPs at the table in Stephenville. $7 billion company just taking a piece of this world energy project. So when you got Fortune 500 companies with a $7 billion account, publicly traded in Stephenville, Stephenville has got a great future, and we need some great leaders to come to the table to ensure that we keep moving Stephenville forward.
Absolutely. Yeah. So who wants to go first? I'm going to be longer.
Under unfinished?
Well, yeah, the unfinished new business doesn't, they're new and all together. But so where are we now? We're on new business, I think.
Any comments from anybody?
No, I just want to add that in the, based on what you've said in terms of where we're headed and the demands placed on a very thin staff here to try to continue to move us forward. We have in the past week or so done interviews and are looking at bringing on some people in some new positions. So we're pretty excited about filling some of the vacant spots again. The excitement as well, I think, for us and for the staff who are here is that we're bringing in some new people so that people can get back to their work and get at it and not be trying to fill the holes that have been left here. So if anyone out there has found a delay or anything like that, certainly we apologize, but it's kind of been beyond our control, and we've had to triage a little bit over the last little while in the absence of a number of positions. So hopefully it's we'll get those positions kind of geared up and in place over the next few weeks, and it'll be full bore then from, that point on.
If I could add one thing to that, and I don't know if I've ever said this publicly, but we're pushing our staff really hard.
Yeah,
We're so thin on staff.
Yeah.
And they know it. They get worn out, and they're doing more than their own job description. And that's really the management team.
Yeah. That's true.
Our union team, that's different. That's a collective agreement they have in place, locked in. But I'll just give you a ratio. Corner Brook has 3 times our population. So you'd almost think, well, they're a city, maybe they could have 4 times our employment. We got roughly 30-something people, Jennifer? 35, 37?
On staff, not including.
Not auxiliaries, but yeah, about 30-something. So we got 30-something employees of 6,000 to 7,000 people. Corner Brook got 18,000 people. They got 240 employees. A big difference.
Yeah, big difference.
Yeah, and so definitely a shout out and a thank you to all the employees at the town for going above and beyond for quite a period of time.
Yes.
And I'm sure it feels for them a little bit shaky at times, but I think now things are going to settle in and everybody can get their feet on solid ground again and get back to a balance between your life, your work life, and your other life. So thank you to everyone who's gone above and beyond for sure.
And even when I look back at council and for the 2 new potential councilors that are sitting with us today, we have so many meetings, so many companies, so many tertiaries coming at us, and you don't have to attend every meeting, but I would go on record to say we're having close to, we got planning and finance and public. That's 60-something meetings a year, 60 to 70, plus the special and the privilege and the meetings with community groups and businesses. we're probably meeting about 100 times a year.
Mm,
It's a big commitment.
It is, yeah.
And, but you know what? Shape. And we'll be in better shape after March 6th because we got 3 new bodies to help us out.
Yeah, I would like to say thank you to the staff as well. I know we've kind of pushed them way beyond what we should, but they were nice enough and kind enough to do their very best for us, and I really appreciate that. And I got to say thank you to them as well.
Yeah, well, of course, I as a given, I mean, they did go all out. You know, and especially a lot of the people that in public works out in the worst kind of weather, you don't know when you're going to get a call about a water break and stuff like that, you know. But before I get on my spiel about the hospital and the new clinic and all that, there's people out there listening. Who's out there listening? I don't know. But I wish they would look up, sometimes go on Google and find out what goes on in a municipality. Because there was a comment about, from our last meeting, that we had wrote off all those taxes without any discussion. Now, that is entirely, absolutely not true. Our discussion on write-offs and stuff like that, we do at the committee meetings. And it's all approved. And the finance chair here, she goes over that financial state, those financial checks and all that kind of stuff, pages and pages of it. She goes in and she makes sure that everything on that financial report is legitimate. And if it's not, she will question it at the table. At our committee meetings, there's no resolutions made. It all goes to the meeting on Thursday at our regular general meeting to be moved and seconded. And we don't need discussion unless somebody brings up a question, because we've already discussed it. That's what committee meetings are for. And some councillors will probably say, well, you know, no need for me to go to committee meetings. There is a need. Committee meetings are really important because that's where you get your discussion and then you bring it back on Thursday. So that, to me, I've heard that said lots of times. When I got elected in 1993, I was working full time. I was working in the purchasing department at Sir Thomas Roddick. I'd get off at 4:30. We'd have our meetings at 4:30. And it was hectic, you know. But anyway, 31 years later, I'm here. Some people would say, oh, you know, those old people, and it's time for them to get off. But anyway, so nevertheless, and what was the other thing was said? There was something else said that wasn't right online, but I'll think about it in a minute. But as far as the new clinic goes, Mr. Mayor, that new clinic is replacing that ugly building down on their part of Montana. Is it Montana?
Georgia, Montana.
Yeah, called the annex, the hospital annex.
St. George Medical Clinic.
Oh, yeah, that
was never meant to be for doctors and staff. Just the steps going on that alone. I mean, it's good when the Americans were here. All those young men, they could go up those steps like you wouldn't believe. It is not really a building for staff like that to work in. And they've got a big staff down there now. And what's going to happen, that building, those people will be all moving to that building, including other professionals like social workers and LPNs and licensed practical nurses, of course, and the receptionists. And they're all going to be in that one building, because right now that building, Western Health is renting that building, but government don't charge they don't charge them for that rent. So I can't wait. And the doctors themselves, because the doctors talk to their buddies, and doctors have said to me, they're not going to come work here. I told them what this building is like. You know, and some of the doctors have been here for years and years and said to me, I wouldn't work in that building. You know, there's no sinks connected or anything like that. If you go for an examination, when doctor's finished, he can't wash his hands. You got to go down to the bathroom in the hall. So there's all kinds of deficiencies with that building. But I want people to understand out there that the councillors and the mayor do a lot of things on their off time. we're doing council things all the time, special events all over the place. And they haven't seen me around much last couple of years because I was to everything on the go, as you all know, with Don Gibbon and Mike Tobin. We went to everything on the go. And that is because the younger people that come on need to get the experience and need to go to those events like the Remembrance Day one and things like that. That's so important. And if one can't go, the other one can go. So there's a lot of things that, but I would suggest that the people that don't know the rules and regulations should really go online and look up sometimes, and not to go online and say things that they don't know what they're talking about. Because I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's like the lieutenant governor said to me one time when he wrote me, and he said, he said, municipal politics, he said, is way worse than provincial or federal politics. For the simple reason that your electors are all around you and they're watching you all the time. And, you get more flack because you're right in the community. And when I see somebody coming forward to run, I really find that, that's really good because they're putting themselves forward, And I would hope that the three people that come on will work well with the current council right now. And I feel that we have a good council and we had a good council. So I think that was all I had to say. But as far as the doctors and recruitment, I'm asking now at the meeting that we book a meeting with Tara Free, CAO of Western Health. Well, it's all Eastern, but they still call themselves Western. Yeah. And Dr. McKenzie, who took over as the medical affairs, he got a new title now from Dr. Bradley. Yeah. So the higher ups, we need a meeting with them. Yeah. In person if we can get it. Yeah. Preferably. Yeah. And if they say, well, I would prefer to have that meeting,
So maybe we'll get you to frame something out, who should be on it, and we'll send it to her.
Yeah, we'll see. They
pick a time.
They know that. What Tara will do,
okay.
She'll bring forward who needs to be there, but we need to say, especially recruitment, we need a recruitment person there. So anyway, I think that needs to be done, Myra and Susan, because that is really important. We haven't had an update on the recruitment in a long time. And right now at our hospital, before I leave and not chat too much, we are doing well. We have the most up-to-date equipment, a brand new mammogram machine. We've got a brand new CT scanner. We got the ultrasound equipment's all up to date. We got new dialysis machines. There's 6 plus a spare, and all of that stuff. We have the most, and we have the stroke center there for patients. We have the pain medical clinic for the whole region. They come from all over the place, and we have two anesthesiologists. And glad that they're here because they do pain management and other minor stuff, but they need the surgeon, right?
Yes.
And I'm told now one of the surgeons will be back in April to come back and do 3 or 4 months with us. So we want to get an update on if there's any surgeons. Yeah. And where, and how active recruitment, because as in the past, they've not been very active. So I think we need to do that as a priority, really. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for my skill,
Thank you, Councilor Elder. That was good. Before I call the German, I'd also like to say that we are working on updating our disability plan, Jennifer. That's going to happen in the next few weeks.
Our accessibility plan.
Accessibility plan, which we absolutely need. And like we said, this new medical clinic for people with disabilities, and Laura, you would really appreciate that, how important it is for our guest, Laura, that's here.
Yeah.
It's so critically needed.
Yeah.
But we're going to work on our disability plan and try to further enhance our ability in the town on that. The last thing I want to say, I got a very nice message from a person I don't know, just sent me a random message. And in the essence, here's what she said. She said, I've been living in Stephenville for 13 years. I'm not from Stephenville, but I'm from Newfoundland, the South Coast. And she said, I've been away, but the lure of Newfoundland couldn't keep me away. But she said, even though I'm not from Stephenville, Stephenville is my home. said, I'm very proud to be in Stephenville. It's a great town with a lot of services. Walking trails are amazing. And in closing, she said she was so pleased to hear about the hydrogen wind project, the sale of the airport to Diamond with new capital coming in. She felt that it was finally a chance to bring families together, bring families back home, grow our community. And she did say that she really feels for council because we take a lot of flack, because not everybody likes change. But you know what? The one thing that's constant is change. So I thought it was very good for somebody just to randomly to reach out to say that basically keep doing what we're doing, stay focused on the community and the town.
Yes, it's really good to see that, because what I see from people that were born and raised here and in Kippens be on Facebook saying the horrible things and negative things about the town and about the council. People that grew up here and younger people than me, a bit younger than me. You see it all the time. And that really surprises me,
Yeah, I think in that context too, it's important to remember that the majority of people who are happy and content with what's happening don't tend to go on and say, I'm happy and content. And when you have people who are on social media being extremely negative, I think people recognize fairly early who the people are that are saying something because they misunderstood it, and who the ones are who are just trying to stir the pot kind of thing. And so we don't want to be fooled into thinking that everybody feels the way that a smaller group of people feel, because all we're seeing is what that small group is saying.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to say that, but I think it's also important to recognize that in other parts of the province and so on, I mean, social media is worldwide, and other people are reading this without context. And I find it very disturbing to think that the reputation of our community is being hurt outside of our community because of all the negativity. All the news, all the reporters, all the papers, all the radio stations, everybody is dying to get a story that's really controversial, and they're having trouble because it's not that way. We're working well together. But if there's an opportunity to grab a story and slant it a little bit, that's been happening as well. And we don't always go on and try to correct everything because we can't. We don't have the time. But unfortunately, sometimes that slows down the real work of council. And so I think it's, for those out there who are listening, who are supportive, if you don't support something we do, if you are concerned about something we do, then let us know that privately and we can meet with you. But, posting it without being absolutely certain that what you're posting is more than an opinion damages everybody. And whether you don't like the council or you do like the council, I assume you like the community that you're living in. So don't deface it, defame it, and all those things, So let us do our work. We're doing good work. We don't always tell you everything we're doing until it's ready to go. So, we'll continue to work for the community. We'll continue as the new council forms to work together on a plan and a strategy that has been developed over the last number of years, and we're moving forward. And we're going to continue to move forward, whether we move, in my case, with many, many battle scars from social media, we're still going to move forward. And by the way, I'm not being scared off, just saying.
Well, you're right. But the other problem that we have, since the Western Star gave up, we used to always have a reporter.
Yeah.
We used to have the Georgian and the Western Star for years and years and years. And now we have no way to get out anything that goes on at the meetings
Yep.
only from Facebook or whoever it goes online and goes back and probably
Yep.
adds on to it or something like that, but there's no way to get it out to newspaper.
I think
Yeah.
it's time now, we're bringing on a new marketing communications manager. I think it's time now to get a community STEMO radio set up, just like
Yeah,
FM,
it's true.
RGM broadcasting.
Yeah,
And even if it's just for morning broadcasts, let's get some volunteers, people up there that got some radio experience. Let's get some media going and get that going. So on that note, great conversation. Thanks for everybody that logged in on electronic media. Thank you for the candidates that came here today, Mr. Green, Mr. Penton. Wish you all the best in the upcoming election. Work hard. If you want it, work hard for it. And to our guests, to our staff, on that note, it is 1:06. I would ask a member of council move that we adjourn the meeting.
I so
Moved
move.
by Councilor Myra White, second.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Susan Vallow, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Wow, what a fright.
Gotta wake us up sometime.
I was waiting for you to go. Motion carried.
I need to ask some more questions about the election now because I want to find out if there could be advance polls.
Yes.
No, there's no chance.
No advance polls.
I would buy elections.
So people who
But it's in the.
live here who aren't here.
You can have one.
Okay, that's what I gotta ask.